Hey guys, welcome to the channel if you're new. Welcome back if you're a subscriber. Special thanks to all of my patrons. My name's Neil and it's time for a very special episode of Taskmaster. This is not the New Year treat. This is not the Champion of Champions. This isn't Series 13 or even Taskmaster New Zealand or Taskmaster Norway. This is the only episode of Taskmaster US that I'm going to watch. I've heard enough things about it that I'm not going to subject myself to the entire series. But I have become a student of Taskmaster. I have become a big fan of Taskmaster, the format. Not just the UK original, but the format in general. And I would be remiss if I didn't see the American attempt. I want to know what went wrong. I know Alex Horne is involved. I know he's playing himself. He's in the assistant role. I know Greg Davies didn't come over. Instead, that is being played by Reggie Watts, who I am a little bit familiar with, but more by appearance than by material. So he's kind of a blank slate for me. I don't know who the contestants are on the show. I don't know if the format is significantly different, but I want to know what went wrong. But before I decide on that, I want to give it a fair shot, which is hard because no one seems to enjoy it. But I am going to try and go in with as open a mind as possible and decide for myself. Now, I know that this came out in 2018. They only did one season of it on Comedy Central, which isn't available in Canada. I would have missed it anyway, even if I was interested in it at the time. But I just it wasn't on my radar. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, they tried it for a season. It didn't work. I think it was only an 8-episode run. So yeah, let's see what it's all about. Yes, this is a reaction video, but I think even more than that, it's going to end up being an analysis video. What went wrong? Why didn't it work? What is it about the fact that some British shows can make the leap to the US and be incredibly successful, and others that attempt to make the jump, something doesn't translate? As Canadian, I feel like we have a great deal of British influence in our lives, in our history, in our nature, but we're also overwhelmingly influenced by our massive neighbor directly to the south. So we're in a bit of a unique position here to be a neutral spectator between the UK and America, and with a foot on each side, so to speak. So anyway, let's jump into this, guys. This is episode 1 of the only season of Taskmaster US.
I'm Reggie Watts, and this is Taskmaster, and I am the Taskmaster. But wait, what does that mean? So, without further ado, let's get this show started and meet our competitors. They are Dillon Francis, Freddie Highmore, Kate Berlant, Lisa Lampanelli, and Ron Funches.
I know Lisa and Ron for sure.
The obscenely British Alex Horne.
Hello. But we speak a similar language, so it'll be 80% okay.
Okay.
And it says here, I'm a former child.
How do we start the show?
Well, we start with the prize. Each week, someone will bring in a personal possession, something they absolutely don't want to lose, okay? And it's that much-loved possession that the winner will take home at the end of the show.
Okay, Dillon, welcome to the show.
Hey.
What hath you brought?
I brought my my computer.
So what is this? Just the most loved?
So I don't want to lose it at all.
I'm just happy to know where you stand on racism.
So that's what they are playing for. What do we have as a first task?
Oh, this is different. It's not a prize task. So they're just rotating the prize. Oh, that's interesting. You lose all that opening banter because you don't have the prize task.
Hey there, bud. How are you?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter?
It's for me.
I wonder how many of these contestants have ever watched an episode.
Get the basketball through the basketball hoop.
You may not touch the basketball with your hands.
You may not wear gloves or anything that could reasonably be construed to be gloves.
Could it be something else that, like, if I take... Okay, well, it, I'm doing it.
Let's see. No hand. Well, let's try it. Yep. Nope, not enough strength. Okay, I'm ready to play
Feels weird
basketball.
being in what's presumably sunny California.
Come on.
Oh, he's got a good technique. He's got a good technique.
Okay, I'm back.
With a flower pot.
With a flower pot.
Daddy's home.
There we go.
Dillon took 2 minutes and 11 seconds. It's pretty quick.
That's very quick.
I pretty much had the same skill level of basketball with my hands or a flower pot. So.
That explains a lot.
I'm new to this country. I didn't realize people could walk that slowly to a shed. But he took 8 minutes, under an hour, 8 minutes. Yeah.
Maybe use it as a football, you know?
Where do I know Freddie from? He's definitely familiar.
What do I do? Do I have to go in there and get it? But I don't want to get wet.
You've got a shed.
What's that? Ah!
Oh, dear.
Freddie's gonna take a while here. I do appreciate that Lisa's wearing a Rust shirt.
Suck my...
Canadian prog rock gods. Whoa! Smart man. Smart man.
I freaking roll this game, bitch.
Thank you, Lisa.
Hate that guy.
Lisa's a little aggro, but that's her thing.
And then you got locked into that cycle. You said, I can do this, and tried that many times.
Probably 20 times or something.
Yes.
Just 24 times.
24.
A lot of aggression.
Well, like I'm an angry person anyway. You could all suck my...
14 minutes and 20 seconds.
Wow.
So you had enough.
That's like real good.
It's not great. It's not great. Freddie, 6 minutes and 43 seconds. So you're in second place.
Break.
Already. We don't even get the final contestant yet.
Welcome back to Taskmaster.
We're yet to see Kate's attempt.
Oh.
You ready for it?
Hi, yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Here it is.
Was she like chopsticking it?
Oh, we're gonna do the classic.
Oh, she's
move.
lacrossing it. Wow, in one. In one.
It's all right. It's all right. There was a slight hint. You used a hand. I don't know if you saw. It just looked like it brushed.
Oh.
Anytime a woman succeeds, a man.
Yeah.
I want it. I think we all want to see.
Yeah.
Thing. Oh God. Yeah. Okay.
Oh. Well, that.
Come on.
It just grazed it.
Yeah. Afraid you'll have to be disqualified from this particular.
Those are the rules.
This next task is quite a retro one.
I like that the music is identical. It feels familiar, you know?
It's sunny. I hate the sun.
Oh.
She lives in LA.
All right.
Do something backwards.
That will look impressive when the footage is reversed.
What?
Whoa.
Okay, let's see how creative they get.
Let's see.
Dillon would be good.
You know what? Actually, Dillon.
Dillon, I thought you might.
That's reversed? That's actually... The swimming was impressive. I didn't know you could...
The largest disappointment at the very end. Where was the wink?
Oh, they cut it out. I thought I winked.
There was no wink. There was no wink.
I loved it.
Thank you, Ron.
Do you want to move on?
Oh, green screen magic. It was the one thing I didn't like about Taskmaster New Zealand, and it's back.
As you kept going up, I thought, the physics aren't right.
Shame about the exhaust. But I enjoyed the message.
I have one small critique.
Use my hands, what?
If you were towing something of that weight, there wouldn't be that much slack. It's not going to count against you. I just wanted to mention it just in case you do more backwards-forwards video. Welcome back to part 3 of this Taskmaster story.
We are whipping along.
Up next is Lisa, who I'd only just met but was already terrified of. So this is...
Okay. So it's just playing a cooking video backwards.
Symbolizes holistically your relationship to Alex.
Yeah, like, I really hated him from, like, the second we met.
Yeah, immediately.
You're just all things that are awful. You're smug, which
you.
means British.
Thank you.
Which means terrible. No offense, Freddie. You're not as bad as he is.
But you could have somehow raped these videos.
I will do 1 point. It could have been played forwards or backwards. It was like relatively the same. Ron, I would say, came in next. The joy was there, but the physics, they just were a little off for me. Third place, I would say Miss Lampanelli.
Aw.
I'm gonna go with Highmore next.
Thank you.
And Kate Berlant wins that task with 5 points.
Well, I don't necessarily agree with this scoring,
We have one leader, it's close, but Freddie Highmore
and I feel like
has gone into the lead.
we need more justification from him. But I'm not terribly disappointed with Reggie yet.
Please, head to the stage for the final task of the show!
Is it okay if I read it to myself first?
You know, as long as it's out loud.
Pop up your tent, pop in your tent, zip up the tent, open your backpack, pop on your onesie, pop out the tent. Fastest wins.
Ready?
Wow!
It's up. Are you okay, Ron?
No, I don't know how to put on a onesie.
Your shoes!
Oh, that would have helped.
We're about to find out who has won the show and Dillon's computer. But first,
It was tight for last place, but I analysed the footage and Ron was just last. So Ron gets 1 point. It then went Kate, got 2 points. She came fourth. Lisa, 3. Freddie, 4. Dillon gets 5 points for that. So,
I think Dillon keeps his computer, maybe.
I've done the maths. He did not win his own laptop because the final scoreboard
Oh, no.
looks like this. Freddie Highmore is a winner.
We can strike a deal later.
No.
see you next time. Good night.
Okay. Well, the first thing is that was quick. Taskmaster UK is about 48 minutes long per episode because it's designed to fit an hour on Channel 4. And this was about 21 minutes because it's designed to fit half an hour in North America. So, yeah, it just flies by, and not necessarily in a good way because you lose a lot of that banter on the stage, which I think is really one of the highlights of most versions of the show. You have to trim down the prize task. The prize task is no longer a task. It's one person putting up a prize, which seems odd. Especially if there's only 8 episodes. It means some people are putting up prizes more times than others, and it's just putting up the thing that's most valuable to them. I don't know. Anyway, it's a shame because if we had had a prize task, then we would have gotten some of that banter on stage, and I'd have a better idea of the personality of the contestants. And I recognize Freddie, but I don't really know him. And I remember Lisa from, like, stand-up shows over the last 20 years, but I mean, she's not I don't remember her style, so I can't speak to whether her personality here on the show is part of her act, a la, I don't know, a James A. Caster or a Joe Brand, or whether she's just really angry, you know, whether that's just her. And if it's just her, it's just kind of, it's not necessarily a great fit for the show, because she's just hostile, you know, and it can be funny if you know that it's just part of the act, but I don't know, it rubs a little wrong. I didn't know the other woman at all, and I get that perhaps North Americans would take the competition part of the show a little more seriously than Brits. Maybe it's just a little bit more of a competitive, I don't know, maybe Americans are just more competitive. I hate to make broad generalizations like that, but there may be something to it where for too many of the contestants, it was more about winning than about being funny. And I get you're disappointed if you disqualify yourself, but getting mad at the Taskmaster because you got disqualified for breaking an obvious rule, that's not the way to play it. You should act embarrassed and ashamed of yourself, not just lashing out. Anyway, I think Ron Funches is great. The first guy, the guy who gave up his laptop. I mean, he was a good competitor, but why are you casting a DJ for a show like this? I mean, isn't this a show that's kind of best suited for comedians? You know, so much of it is the humor that's happening while the task is being undertaken. I was actually really impressed with his backwards video because I have a hard time envisioning how I would swim backwards myself, and yet he did it. That was pretty cool. Which brings me to the judging. As much as I've railed against judging that I disagree with in the past, I had no problem with the judging in this episode. What I missed was Reggie giving more justification. He was certainly getting, you know, a few comments in there as to why he placed somebody over somebody else, and that's fine. But I think the format of the show works against him because there's not a ton of time to elaborate and really, you know, sort of poke fun at the people that took way too long, or, you know, or really applaud the people that did something quite innovative. And it's also episode 1 of a new series, and you're still sort of getting into the feel of things. You know, these things don't necessarily fire on all cylinders right out of the blocks. So I'll give Reggie the benefit of the doubt there. But I really feel like you need the Taskmaster to be... I mean, it's tough because you're comparing every Taskmaster to Greg Davies. And Greg is this really great combination of, I mean, he's a physically imposing man. You know, 300 pounds, 6'8", just a monster of a man. And when he wants to come across stern, he can come across very, very stern. But he's also funny as heck, and he can turn on the funny in a second. And being able to deliver both of those things, that harsh disciplinarian and the funny wise ass in the same personality, that's walking the fence. But I think it can be done. I just feel like Reggie was a little too friendly and chill and soft-spoken for the role. That being said, this wasn't as bad as I anticipated. Like, I haven't read a single positive review of this show. If you go on YouTube and search Taskmaster US, most of the videos that pop up are about how painful it was, about how it was a failure, about what went wrong. And, I mean, part of the challenge here is it's living up to an incredibly high standard, especially when it came out. Taskmaster UK already had, I'm guessing, 7 or 8 seasons under its belt, It was dialed in, it was firing on all cylinders, and it's a really strong show. I mean, there's a reason I've become a fan of it. So it's a really high bar to hit. And the fact that maybe some other international versions have succeeded better than the American version is another point of comparison. Although I wonder whether there were any versions out back in 2018, or was this the first international version? I think it may have been. I know Taskmaster New Zealand wasn't out at that point. I'd be curious if any of the Scandinavian ones were. Anyway, it just didn't feel quite right. Maybe there's something about it being in LA with the sunny pool. You know, the tasks themselves were pretty straightforward ones. Nothing particularly insane. I wasn't really struck by the creativity of anybody in the reverse footage. The basketball through the hoop one, very basic, but I get it. We're warming the contestants up, we're warming the audience up, but perhaps not on par with really good quality British tasks. And I'm surprised how much I missed the prize task. That felt really absent. Like I really missed that. That's the biggest drawback to this version in my mind. I wonder who did the casting for this. There's a ton of North American comedians. I'm surprised you couldn't have found 5 proper comedians instead of 3 and a DJ and an actor. But maybe there's also one of the benefits of the UK version is because it's a smaller scene. I mean, yes, the UK is a big country, but it's not American big. It's a more close-knit, it feels to me, comedy scene where it feels like everybody knows everybody. Because panel shows are very prevalent in the UK, it feels like everybody's worked with everybody on this show or on that. Like everybody knows each other, and so there's some familiarity amongst the contestants right off the bat. But I wonder, did these 5 know each other, or even who they were, who the other contestants were prior to the show? You miss things like that comfort level, that good-naturedness of it. Taskmaster, as competitive as it can be, and as harsh as some of the insults can be on that show, you feel that at its core, it's all in good fun. It's all good-natured, and ultimately everybody on the stage loves each other. I didn't get that on this show. I felt like Alex was singled out as the villain. They even played that up in the coming next week. It's like, Lisa hates Alex, and, this contestant hates Alex. This contestant hates Alex. And it's like, do you understand that he is A, playing the role of the assistant, therefore, he's the minion, not the Taskmaster, and B, are you just hating on him because he's the foreigner, he's the Brit? He, like Lisa said, he comes off so, she said Alex comes off smug and therefore British, and it's like, Alex is so not smug. That's not his personality at all on the show. So, it's just kind of these hostile stereotypes that just rub the wrong way. They didn't mess with the formula except for the length of the show, and it's amazing how much that makes a difference. The look was the same, the music was the same, the envelopes, the scoring, the final task, but you take away the prize task and you take away an extra task during the run of the episode, and you lose a bunch of the banter, and the heart of the show disappears. And it's a shame. The funniest part of the show was Alex. Alex was doing his best to be little Alex Horne and crack the jokes, but he and Reggie hadn't found their chemistry yet. which is fair. Episode 1, Series 1, I get that. But you notice how much it's missing when you see that weird, really weird chemistry between Greg and Alex on the original that just kind of works and brings something really special. Not as terrible as I thought it might be, but I'm glad I don't have to watch a full season of it. I'm glad I got a taste of what it was. And frankly, what it confirms with me more than anything is how special hit television is. Because just a couple of things going the wrong way can take a show completely off the rails. If you did a checklist comparison between the two shows, there's not a lot of difference. And yet, they're two very different animals. And it's almost hard to quantify why. But it just makes me treasure the original more. Taskmaster UK really is something special. When other versions get close, you can really appreciate it. That's what I really loved about Taskmaster New Zealand. And yeah, for those of you who are eager for more of a Taskmaster fix, know this. I am going to be reacting to Taskmaster Norway. I believe it's called Kongerbefallen. Please excuse me if I am mispronouncing that. I do not have Norwegian amongst my linguistic arsenal, but I am going to react to Season 1 of Taskmaster Norway. And that'll be interesting. It's subtitled, but I hear good things. I hear really good things. And I'm also, once that's done, I'm going to react to Taskmaster New Zealand Series 1. I dove right into Season 2 because I was catching it live at the time. Now I can go back and do Season 1. I'm looking forward to that. It'll be weird seeing them out of order a little bit, but I am looking forward to more Paul in particular. I really enjoyed him as the assistant. So yeah, keep an eye out for those guys. Taskmaster Norway, Taskmaster New Zealand, they're coming up soon, and you better believe I'll be doing Series 13 of the original as soon as it starts appearing on YouTube. So keep an eye out for that. I believe it's supposed to start in March, so not too far away. I hope everyone's doing great. Thank you so much for joining me on this little adventure. Until next time, everybody, take care, stay healthy, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.